Hi, my beautiful friends. Thank you so much for clicking on today's video. Today's going to be a little different, you guys. The other day, I was going out after a long shift of work, and I came home. I started touching up my makeup, and I thought, what a great idea for a video. You know, a lot of times, a lot of people just don't know what to do after a long day. You know, we end up, applying way too much makeup. It starts looking cakey, or we just take everything off and start all over again. So today, I'm just going to show you a few of the tips that I do to do a quick touch-ups, to be out the door, to go out with our friends and not have to reapply everything. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy that. And if you're new today, the biggest welcome to you. And we really hope that you consider hitting that subscribe and notification bell to join this awesome family here. Okay, you guys, let's go do some quick touch-ups. I'm actually going to start this video of showing you what makeup I chose to wear to work that day. I'm putting on my favorite eye primer, and the palette I'm going to use is the Amplify by W7. I got this at 5 and Below. I'm going to go in with that shade there and tap that on the outer corner, and I'm just using a tapping motion. That way I do take most of the product off of the brush, and then I will go in and sweep and swirl just to really blend that shade out. I love this palette, you guys, so much. And with the darkest shade in the palette, I'm going to place that on my outer corner and really just blend these two together. I find that these are super pigmented, so you do have to use a very light hand and very little product. With the lightest shade in the palette, I'm going to place that just above everything that I laid down just to really diffuse all those edges. And with the darkest shimmer shade in the palette, I'm going to just place that on the lid. And this shade is just so beautiful. I can't even explain what color that is. But as you can see, it is gorgeous. And then in the inner corner, I'm going to place, it's more of a golden shade. And I'm just going to kind of blend the two together to create like a little ombre effect. Okay, you guys, I'm going in. This is actually by Eye Method. It is their eye stamp. And I'm just using the other end. And look how easy it was to create that wing. And you guys, this liner is super, super long wearing and very waterproof. I did test that. Now I'm going to go in with my hydrating mist as usual. I've been loving doing this. I told you guys 100 times that it really hydrates the face. And then I'm going in with my Cookies and Dreams to fill in my pores as usual. And today I'm going to be using the e.l.f. and this is their new Halo Glow Filter. I'm going to be using this as a primer. I'm super interested to see how well my makeup will last and how the foundation that I'm choosing will look over it. I've done this several times with the Charlotte Tilbury and I love how it looks. So I'm going to try it again. I'm going to use the CoverGirl. This is Simply Ageless. I love this for my everyday foundation. It's super long lasting even on its own. I'm going to place the NYX Bear With Me Concealer Serum and I'm just placing that on the back of my hand just to warm up the product. And just to add a little bit on my inner and outer corner. And the heat from my finger is really going to melt that right into my skin to make everything look very seamless. With a very light dusting, I'm going to set my under eyes with a number 7. I feel with that NYX, you guys, it does crease up on me just a touch. So I do find that I do have to set my under eyes. So again, just a very, very light layer. To set the rest of my face, I'm going to go in with my HG, and this is by Kosas. I love this powder. And what I love about it, you will not lose any of your glow from any of your products that is underneath. And for my bronzer today, I'm choosing the Milani. This is such a wonderful bronzer. It's very buildable. It's matte, but it does not age you. It blends out seamlessly, and I think it's just a very flattering shade. For blush, I'm going to use the One Size in the shade Fat Ass. The name just kills me, you guys. But this is a beautiful blush. It's very long wearing. It is super pigmented, so you do have to be careful with the amount that you do apply on the brush. I like to apply a little bit in my shadow just to tie everything together. Now I'm going to go back into that palette, and I'm going to mix those two shades, and I'm going to place that all along the lower lash line. And then I'm going to go in with that shimmer. I love that shade. And add that as well on the lower lash line. I think that just adds a little bit of drama and dimension to the look. To lock everything in place, I'm going to use my Kate Watermelon Burst Setting Spray. And I like spraying my sponges because I feel like I do get every nook and cranny that's on my face. And you're going to see what a beautiful glow that this setting spray leaves behind. For mascara, I'm going to be using the Maybelline Sky High. I'm going to place 2 coats of this. And what I love about this mascara, it does create a lot of length and volume. For the lips, I'm going to be using my Maybelline Vinyl Ink. And this is in the shade Cheeky. I love the shade number 1. It is such a great formula. Number 2, super long wearing, and I love that applicator. So it's off to work I go, and I'll be back to do some much needed touch-ups. So the other day I was going out after work and I had to come home and do some touch-ups, before I went out, show you guys some tips, some things that I do to touch up before I go out, some ideas. So that's what we're doing today, you guys. So as you've seen earlier, I applied all my makeup. That I finished applying all my makeup about 7 o'clock this morning, you guys. It's now about 10:30 at night, and I intentionally did not touch up at all throughout the day. So this is what the makeup is looking like. As you can see, I am pretty glowy or a little oily through the T-zone, even up on the forehead. It was kind of hot today. It's hot right now in the house, so I'm just going to show you guys a few little, like tips what I do. So I'm just going to throw this hairdo back and I'm just going to show you what the makeup is looking like. So some of the eyeshadow has faded a little bit. As you can see, it's pretty glowy. A little bit, I think that's mascara that's transferred on the lower part of the eye. So I got to fix that up, reapply some lipstick and just add some color back into the face. So what I go in with first is either some blotting sheets or this here, that's the Revlon, that roller. I love this. I got it at on Amazon, and I also have seen it at TJ Maxx, and I think even Ulta carries this now. And I kind of like it a little better at this point than the blotting sheets, because the blotting sheets can sometimes lift the makeup, where this one I feel it kind of like pushes it back in. So that's what I'm going to go through right now is try to get a lot of this shine off my face. And this just does such a great job at doing that. As you can see, it's starting to mattify everything down. And the great thing is this ball, you can clean it after a few uses. So I'm just going to go and pick up as much oil as I can. So as you can see, it did a pretty good job at taking all of the oil away. Okay, and then what I do is take the sponge that I used earlier, or if you use a brush, go in with the brush, and I just kind of press everything back into the skin. And this is also going to lift up any oil, excess oil that's lingering around. So I'm just going to go in, and believe it or not, there's still probably product left on this sponge. So it is going to put a little bit of that down. So I never really apply any more product on that, because then it can start looking really cakey. Okay, I needed to get a makeup wipe because I'm going to show you that I do just lightly go in and take away anything that's under here that may have transferred or smeared. And I don't know what that is. And usually my mascara does not transfer, but it did today. So we're going to have to remove that. So I'm just going to let that dry down. And then I go in with a little bit of powder. I'm going to use my Kosas powder. This really does touch everything up really nice. And I'm just going to use the brush that I always use, or the one I used earlier this morning, and go in and touch up around my nose and pretty much the T-zone. Okay, you guys, and then for under the eyes, I do not want to reapply any concealer. So this is when this kind of product comes in handy, and it's a powdered foundation. And there, there's this one. There's also, I think, ColourPop makes one. I think the Infallible makes one. So I like using the e.l.f. one, and I just put very little on a brush here. I'm going to tap that off and just lightly push that under the eye. And even though it's a powder, it's brightening, but it's not going to look super cakey. I feel like if I applied any concealer under here, it's really going to accentuate a lot of things. So it just covers it up pretty good, and it adds a little bit of brightness under the eyes. So as you can see, it kind of fixed up that area really nice. I want you guys to take note though how well that eyeliner has really stayed. Now I would go in with my bronzer, and as you can see, there's still quite a bit of product on this brush. So the nice thing is you could just pack, honestly, your brushes in a makeup bag and probably get away with just applying whatever's left on the brush, and it would probably be plenty. Or you can pack, you know, the bronzer itself, but I'm going to first go in and see if there's enough product on this brush first before I apply, reapply any more product. I'm just going to go around my nose just like I would earlier. And honestly, I think that is pretty good. I might reevaluate this in just a minute, but as of right now, I think that is plenty of product. And I also want to take this here, the Kosas again, and just add a little bit more here where the foundation has really rubbed off. Or you can also go in with this here. You can use just a little bit of this powdered foundation just to add a little bit of coverage. Okay, you guys, I'm coming back to life here. Okay, so now I'm going to go in with the eyeshadow that I used earlier, and I'm going to evaluate if I feel like I can clean up this eye look. First of all, I do need, there is a little bit of smearing, so I'm going to take a spoolie here and just kind of clean up anything that has smeared or transferred. And I think I am just going to add just a little bit of eye primer here. And I'm just going to go lightly over what I already have, you guys. I'm not even going to take it off. I'm just going to add a little bit of base so that the shimmer will really pop. Again, I'm just going to use what's left on the brush from earlier and just see if that is enough. And I'm going to go basically over the exact place that I did earlier. Just add a little bit more product. As you can see, everything is really starting to come together again. And then there's still product left on this brush, and that was on my outer corner. I'm just going to add that. And then at this point, you know, if you want to add a little bit more drama, depending what you're doing after work, you know, if you're going to out to a dark place, you know, to have cocktails or something, then of course you would want to add a little bit more product just so it does pop. Okay, so that's looking good, you guys. Now I'm going to go in with that shimmer I used earlier. And again, because I laid down a little bit more eye primer, it is going to pop a little bit more. See, oh, I just love this little $5 palette from Five and Below. It is so nice. I do need more blush, so again, at first though, I'm just going to take the brush that I used earlier and use whatever's left on this brush and see if I need to add more. And see, I mean, I would really not have to add anything to this brush. So I am just using whatever's left, which is quite a bit, obviously. And that really did the trick. So I'm just going to add a little bit across my nose just to add a little something. So I'm actually going to tone this side down a little bit. I definitely need to add a little bit under the eye because all that has pretty much gone away. So I'm just going to do what I did earlier, mix the two. And just apply that under the eye. And apply the shimmer just under there as well. I really love a shimmer on the lower lash line. I think it just looks so pretty. I am going to touch up my eyebrows just a little bit, and I'm going to go in with my Uma and just use the brow gel just to comb that through, just to add a little bit more color if there was any fading. But my eyebrows usually stay really well throughout the day. But I do want to add just a little color to them, or darken them up. So I think that looks pretty good. Now again, you could add more blush if you wanted, more bronzer if you wanted. But for me, I think that looks pretty darn good. Okay, so this is where a little bit of magic happens, you guys. I'm going to go in with my MAC, and this is the Prep and Prime Fix It, or Fix Plus. And this is so nice for touching up or any kind of fixing spray. You'd probably want to use a fixing spray instead of a setting spray, because a setting spray is going to set everything down and you want to fix things. So that's why this is great. Now they do have a little tiny travel size one, and if you can't find that, this comes really handy. I get this on Amazon, and you could just fill it up with any kind of fixing spray or setting spray or whatever. But I really like using a fixing spray at this point. So I'm going to put some on my sponge, and I'm pretty generous about it. And I'm just going to, tap the back of my wrist here just to really push this into the sponge. And I'm going to go around and really press everything. And this is going to hide any powder that you may have used. And it's also going to melt all the products back into your face. And I really like to spend a lot of time under these eyes because I did use a powdered foundation, which is a little thicker. And I'm just going to line my lip here with my favorite essence, because duh. How shocking. And go back in with the lipstick that I used earlier, which is the Maybelline Vinyl Ink. And I believe this is in Cheeky here. And just add a little bit more of that on. Okay, and then you can go back over with any powder, if you still look a little shiny, which I do a little bit through the T-zone. So I'm just going to fix that up. And that is it, you guys. I am ready to go back out to meet the girls if I wanted to for a cocktail or for dinner. And I think everything looks a lot better. It looks more fresh. I'm not super shiny. I don't have a lot of smearing under the eyes. So that's what I do for a quick touch up, you guys. And you've seen it took about 15 minutes. And I really didn't use, a heck of a lot of more product either. I just used whatever was left on my brushes pretty much. So I hope that you found a few of these tips helpful. And if you did, if you please hit the like button, I would truly appreciate it. And if you have any tips or tricks that you would like to share with us, put it in the comment section. I would love to read about them, and I would love to try some of those out. Okay, you guys, that's the end of today's video. I love you guys so much. And until next time.